Welcome back to the deep dive. Okay, so you, our listeners, handed us this really fascinating stack of source materials. It covers a collectible game concept called Tee Legion TCG.
Yeah, it's quite something. It takes this world of golf, the fundamentals, the precision.
And reimagines it as, well, high fantasy. Knights, dragons, relics, the whole 9 yards, almost literally.
Hey, yeah. And that's our mission today, right? To really dig into this comprehensive overview. We're not just skimming rules, we're extracting the lore, the why behind it. How does golf discipline, even the flaws, translate into these knights and dragons?
Exactly. It's not just a fantasy skin on a generic game. The sources make it clear the game engine is golf discipline. That's the hook I love. It's a deep dive into the lore of the legions. Things like grip, stance, tempo. They become actual powers, villains, paths to victory. It's this brilliant fusion,
It really is. And that central command they quote everywhere, it sums it up perfectly. Swing with dragons, command with the knight, read the wind, mind the hazards, and win the hole.
It tells you everything. You're managing this epic chaos, but really you're protecting your own composure, your knight's focus.
Precisely.
Okay, so before we get into the nitty-gritty of combat, we need to establish the basics. The metrics. There are 4 core stats governing everything.
Right, these 4 are baked into every card, every decision, and they map so well to actually playing golf. The big one, the most existential, is GP, game points.
And this isn't just your standard life points, is it? The sources are pretty specific. GP is score, yes, but it's also the knight self. They're, well, you said it for composure.
Exactly. Stamina and composure, that's key. If you hit 0 GP, your knight is cut. Game over. And it's not just about running out of hit points. It implies your commander, your avatar on the tee, has lost their nerve.
That's a fantastic distinction. In other games, low health just means you need to block the next hit. Here, low GP means your whole strategy might be fraying because your knight is cracking under pressure.
Yeah, the mental game is built right in. That sets up the other stats. You've got HD, hit damage, pretty straightforward how hard your dragon hits.
Simple power.
Yeah.
And then DG, Dragon Guard.
Unit toughness, basically. Defense. Think stability, resilience in your dragon line.
Yeah.
HD and DG are more about the dragon's physical side, their elemental nature,
Okay, so power and toughness for the strikers. What's the last one?
The last one anchors the whole battlefield, YDS yards. This defines the dragon's distance identity. And it's crucial because it dictates where they can actually go on the board.
So that's how they enforce the golf logic. You can't just stick a long-range dragon up close.
Well, the YDS stat forces proper placement. We'll get into that zone structure later, but YDS is the gatekeeper.
Got it. So that brings us to the central figure, the player's avatar, the knight, the command center. They hang out in the teeing ground zone. What's the deal with that zone?
The teeing ground is like sacrosanct. It's the knight's permanent spot, and crucially, no dragons or relics can ever enter it.
So it physically represents the golfer standing there, observing, making the calls.
Yeah.
A fixed point.
Exactly. A fixed point amidst all the potential chaos unfolding down the fairway, so to speak. And their role reflects that. Pure command.
Right. They issue 1 command per turn. That's it. To a ready dragon. Strike, defend, or activate. It's a real economy of action.
Forces you to prioritize, doesn't it? You get 1 shot, make it count. And here's the balancing act, the knight's core weakness tied to their permanence.
They don't actually swing.
Well, they can, but only as a last resort. If your entire front line, the lance zone, is empty, then the knight steps up to strike. It's a fail-safe, but it basically signals you're in deep, deep trouble.
Wow, so if your knight is taking a swing, things have gone seriously wrong. It can't be destroyed or discarded.
Yeah.
Right. So they were always there.
Always there. But their GP, their composure, is always vulnerable. That's the twist. The physical commander is permanent, but their mental fortitude, their GP pool, is the real target.
That creates this fascinating dynamic. You, the player, know your knight is physically safe back there, but every hit your opponent lands chips away at that GP, at your ability to command effectively.
It means damage mitigation, defense. It becomes just as vital, maybe more so, than just raw attack power. Your dragons aren't just hitting, they're protecting your knight's mental state, shielding that GP.
So the knight's strength isn't hitting hard, it's managing the chaos, maintaining that GP buffer. Which leads perfectly into the Knight Legions. These are the archetypes, right? Representing different approaches to golf mastery.
Spot on. 4 main factions, each with its own color, sigil, and strategic philosophy. They dictate how you approach the game, how you value those core stats.
Let's start with the aggressive one, the Warrior Legion. Red-orange colors and that sigil. cross driver and sword.
Yep. Warriors are all about aggression, strength, high HD output, trying to grind down the opponent's GP fast. Direct combat. Think of the golfer who just tries to bomb it past every problem.
Okay, pure power, then the opposite end, finesse.
That's the Rogue Legion. Green teal colors, and their sigil is twin daggers shaped like golf tees. Nice touch.
Yeah. So trickery, how does that work in a game built on strict yardage rules?
Good question. They don't cheat the placement rules. Their trickery is more about manipulating the conditions. The sources say they focus on messing with the opponent's YDS mid-turn or maybe changing a hazard type.
Ah, so they aren't putting a driver dragon in a putter slot, but they might use a relic to suddenly make your safe landing spot less safe, like turning rough into water.
Exactly. Environmental manipulation. Playing the angles, finding weird lines. They're the scramblers, the short game wizards who turn bad situations around.
Cool. Okay, moving towards discipline. The Monk Legion. Gold brown, lotus-style, green marker sigil. Resolve and defense.
That's their core. Monks are about patience. High DG, sustaining their own GP, playing the long game. Attrition. If the warrior wins fast, the monk wins slow by outlasting you, letting your composure crack first. They embody that steady rhythm, consistency above all.
Like the golfer who never gets flustered, just plays their game. And the last one, the strategists.
The Wizard Legion. Blue-violet, with a rune staff fused with a golf flag sigil. These guys are all about strategy, planning.
Relic heavy, I bet.
You got it. Lots of relics. They focus on controlling the course, manipulating the game state, setting up intricate plays over multiple turns. They aren't looking for the one big knockout punch. They're managing the entire flow of the match. The meticulous course planners.
So these legions give you 4 distinct ways to approach the game, and crucially, 4 ways to think about protecting your knight's GP. Warriors spend it aggressively, monks hoard it defensively.
Precisely. Your legion choice dictates your relationship with your own composure stat, and you start seeing the synergies, right? Wizards loving relics means they'll lean on course and caddy relics because those are the ones tied to GP manipulation. They use knowledge, course relics, and guidance, caddy relics, to keep their knight steady.
Okay, so the knight commands in the back, managing GP, but the ones doing the actual hitting, the swinging, those are the dragons. And their identity is just fantastic as they embody swing flaws, mental errors, tough course challenges.
Right. It turns a typical fantasy monster into this potent metaphor for a specific golf struggle. Each dragon even has a par symbol, P3, P4, P5.
Reflecting the difficulty of the hole it represents. So beating a P5 dragon is like conquering a really tough par 5 hole.
That's the idea. They're the engine of your offense, pushing yardage, dealing the big HD damage. But, and this is key, they're described as hazard-bound beasts.
Meaning they're inherently risky. Power comes with danger.
Always. Almost every time they strike, they face a roll that could send them into a hazard. It perfectly captures that risk-reward of a powerful swing. Huge potential gain, but also potential disaster lurking.
Makes sense. Now, how do these dragons break down? You mentioned clans, tied to club types and swing stages.
Yeah, 5 dragon clans, elemental factions. Each one maps to a club category and a phase of the actual golf swing. It's really clever.
Let's hear them. Start with power.
Okay, first up, Flame Wings. Fire element, obviously. They represent drivers and the stance phase, all about explosive, immediate offense, red-orange colors, just like the Warrior Legion. Your stance is your power base, right? Flame Wings embody that.
Got it. Stance equals power. Next.
Stonebacks. Earth element. They represent irons in the grip. Think resilience, defense, high DG, anchoring your play. A solid grip leads to stable, reliable iron play. Brown-gray colors.
Grip equals stability. Okay. What about the tricky parts of the swing?
That brings us to storm scales. Lightning element, they're linked to hybrids, those versatile, sometimes unpredictable clubs, and they represent the takeaway.
Ah, that crucial first move that sets the tempo.
Exactly. It can be smooth or chaotic. Storm scales embrace that chaos. Fast combos, variance effects, yellow, electric, green. They bring that element of speed and unpredictability.
So stance, grip, takeaway.
Okay.
What's next? Impact.
Precisely. Tide wings, water ice element. They represent putters and the moment of impact. Delicate, high pressure. So they focus on control, precision finishers, hazard management, even tempo freeze effects. Blue teal. Coolness under pressure, like putting on a fast green.
Okay, that covers the core clubs. Stance, driver, grip irons, takeaway hybrids, impact putters. Is there a fifth?
There is. The rare, almost mythical one, Aether Maze. cosmic or weave element. They represent legendary clubs, maybe unique prototypes or masterwork clubs, and they embody the follow-through.
The completion of the swing.
Right. They focus on big synergy, powerful game-ending abilities, purple-silver colors, these are the chase cards, the ones that represent a transcendent, perfect shot that goes beyond the normal mechanics.
Wow, so you're literally building your force based on the physical stages of a golf swing. That's incredibly thematic. Okay, so these dragons, representing flaws and swing parts, need a place to operate. The lamp zone, the fairway.
Yep. The lance zone is the main battlefield. It's structured to enforce that golf logic we talked about. It has 8 slots corresponding to club distances from putter up to driver.
And the rule that makes it work is the yardage alignment rule.
That's the heart of it. A dragon must go into the slot that matches its printed YDS stat. There are specific bands. Putter slot is, say, 050 YDS. Mid-irons might be 160, 180 YDS. The driver slot is way out there, 280 plus YDS.
Why is that lock so important for game balance?
It prevents degenerate strategies. Without it, you just pile your strongest, highest HD dragons into the safest, closest slots, right?
Yeah, makes sense.
The YDS lock forces you to put your P5 driver dragon, your biggest hitter, way out in the most exposed, farthest slot, where it has the highest chance of, well, shanking it into a hazard on a bad roll. Power comes with risk because of position.
And there's a penalty if the YDS changes mid-game, like if a relic buffs it or a trick debuffs it.
Oh yeah. If a dragon's YDS changes and it no longer fits the YDS band for its current slot, it doesn't move immediately, but it gets hit with a huge penalty. It cannot strike.
Ouch. So it just sits there, useless, wasting your knight's command for the turn.
Potentially, yeah. It becomes a sitting duck. It perfectly simulates using the wrong club for the distance. It just doesn't work. And it costs you tempo, momentum.
So each slot really does mirror a club's role. Sandwich slot for bunker specialists, driver slot for the big boss monsters. The battlefield is basically your golf bag laid out.
That's a great way to put it. And it means those P5 dragons in the driver slot, yeah, they might have insane HD, but they are perpetually one bad die roll away from disaster, maybe even out of bounds. The structure ensures power is balanced by exposure.
Okay, knight commands, dragon swings, but they need tools, right? Strategy comes from the relics. You said these are like the arsenal. Tools, techniques, guidance.
Exactly. Relics are the counterbalance to the dragon's raw, sometimes chaotic power. They don't attack themselves, but they modify the game state, influencing those core stats. HD, DG, GP, YDS.
And the key design thing here is they're restricted. Subclasses that can only affect certain stats.
That's the crucial part for balance and flavor. 5 subclasses, each anchored to specific stats they're allowed to influence. Keeps things from getting out of hand.
All right, let's break them down. First up, gear relics. Clubs, balls, equipment.
Gear focuses purely on the physical output, YDS and HD, distance and power. And the sources emphasize gear cannot touch GP.
Because a new driver doesn't magically calm your nerves.
Pretty much. If you need more hitting power or distance, grab some gear. If your knight's composure GP is shot, gear won't help you.
Makes sense. So what does help with composure or stability?
Well, for stability, you look at swing relics. These represent form, stance, rhythm. They anchor heavily on DG, Dragon Guard. Sometimes they might touch YDS or subtly influence GP.
So improving your form gives you better defense, more consistency, maybe makes you feel a bit better mentally.
Right. A good swing relic boosts your stability, DG. Maybe provides a small GP bump representing confidence from good form, but it's not going to suddenly give you massive hitting power, HD. The lines are clear.
Okay, gear for power distance, swing for stability form. What about the environment? You mentioned course relics.
Course relics represent the environment itself. Legendary holes, weather, terrain. They anchor on GP tempo, morale often paired with YDS.
Ah, so playing on a familiar or inspiring course boosts your knight's morale. Helps manage that GP drain over a long match.
Exactly. Course conditions affect stamina, positioning, mental state. So if an opponent's Warrior Legion is hammering your GP, maybe you play a Quartz Relic representing, I don't know, Augusta's pristine greens, giving your knight a passive GP recovery.
I love how distinct these roles are. Gear can't fix morale, Course can't fix a weak hit. What about those clutch moments, the big recovery shots?
That's where technique relics come in. Think instants, one-shot tactical plays, desperate moves. They anchor on HD and or YDS.
High impact, but maybe risky?
Often, yes. They represent that go for broke recovery shot, and they frequently use GP as a cost, like taking penalty stroke. You pull off the miracle technique, but the stress costs your knight composure.
Okay, high risk, high reward plays. That leaves one type, caddies.
Caddy relics. Guidance, support. the mental game assistants. They anchor squarely on DG and GP.
So stability and composure.
Exactly. Caddies are variance managers. They help stabilize your defense, DG, and maintain your knight's morale, GP. They prevent catastrophic collapses, but notice they don't boost offense, HDYDS. A caddy gives advice, steadies the nerves, but doesn't swing the club.
This strict segmentation is brilliant. It forces you to diagnose the problem precisely. Is my GP low? I need a caddy or course relic. Do I need more power, gear, or technique? You can't just throw generic good cards at the problem.
And nowhere is that more critical than with hazard retrieval. Getting a dragon back from the bunker, rough, or water is a huge part of the game, and relics handle it, but again, with strict subclass rules.
First rule, though, gotta state it again. Out of bounds, OB is final, right? The absolute graveyard. No relic brings you back from OB.
Non-negotiable. That keeps the 6-foot roll, the shank, truly terrifying. For the recoverable hazards, though, the relic subclass is specialized. Gear retrieval thinks specialized wedges, irons. They use precision tools. Their effects usually involve YDS-HD trade-offs. But critically, they're capped. They can typically only retrieve par 3 or maybe par 4 dragons. A giant P5 dragon is just too much for a physical tool to dig out.
So you need something more supportive, like a caddy.
Caddy retrieval offers that. It's safer, focuses on stabilizing DGGP during the recovery, but it's also conservative, usually capped at par 4 dragons as well. The caddy provides guidance for a steady recovery, not a miracle.
The miracle shot comes from
Technique retrieval. These are the only relics that can even attempt to pull back a mighty par 5 dragon from a hazard, but the risk is immense. The sources say these techniques often have built-in failure states, like rolling poorly could send the dragon straight to OB instead.
Wow, so it perfectly mirrors choosing a recovery club in real golf. Safe chip out with a caddy relic, standard recovery with gear, or the high-risk, high-reward hero shot with a technique relic. The tool has to match the situation, the par level, the hazard depth.
Exactly. The lore and mechanics are perfectly intertwined.
Okay, relics help manage risk, but where does the risk actually come from? Obviously, the hazard zone and dice rolls.
Yep. The hazard zone is usually depicted visually below the lance zone on the playmat, a constant reminder of where things can go wrong. There are 3 main recoverable hazards, mapped directly to bad outcomes on a standard 6-sided die.
Let's walk through them. The mildest is linked to rolling a 4.
Right. A 4 typically sends your dragon to the bunker, sand. The penalties are usually just taxes on DG or HD. You lose some stability or power, maybe have to pay a small cost to get out, but the dragon isn't usually in immediate danger.
Okay, annoying but manageable. What about rolling a 5?
A 5 puts you in the rough. Grass. This usually imposes a mixed penalty, maybe a hit to your knight's GP and some stat drain on the dragon. Reflects both the physical difficulty of the lie and the mental frustration.
GP hit plus stat train. Getting worse. And the worst recoverable one, rolling a 6.
A 6 sends you to water. This is severe. Usually dual stat penalties, maybe losing cards, and crucially tempo disruption, like skipping your next action or being unable to ready a dragon. Water really messes up your rhythm.
And the cost to get out of these? They aren't printed on every single dragon card.
No, that would be chaos. They use a universal hazard retrieval cost table. The cost is tied to the keyword bunker, rough, water. So a retrieve from bunker relic works consistently regardless of which dragon is in there, unless a specific card explicitly modifies it. Keeps things streamlined.
Okay, standardized costs make sense. But the real drama, the source of those 4s, 5s, and 6s, is the shot shape roll. The 1d6 roll that determines the outcome of every swing.
That's the core probabilistic engine. And the philosophy is beautifully simple and intuitive for golf. 1 is best, 6 is catastrophic.
Love it. Okay, break down the outcomes. What happens on each roll?
So you issue a strike command, your dragon swings, you roll the d6. A 1 is straight, perfect shot, no bonuses, no penalties, safe harbor.
Nice and clean. What about a 2?
A2 is a draw, controlled power. You typically get a bonus to HD, maybe plus 100, and some extra YDS, say plus 50. It's the aggressive, power-focused good outcome.
Draw for power.
And a 3. A 3 is a fade, controlled. Well, control. You get a bonus to DG, maybe plus 100, and also some extra YDS, maybe plus 50, like the draw. This is the safer, stability-focused good outcome, sacrificing a bit of raw power for more resilience.
So even on good rolls, you have a flavor choice, draw for hitting harder, fade for being tougher. Now the bad rolls, the 4.
A 4 is a hook, overswinging for distance. You might get a big YDS bonus, like plus 150, but you lose control, taking a penalty to DG, say Manish 100. That loss of stability maps it directly to landing in the bunker hazard. Power was there, form wasn't.
Hook send you to the bunker. What about the slice, the 5?
A 5 is a slice. Weak contact, loss of power, and distance. You get penalties to both YDS and HD, maybe -100 each. This failure of contact and position sends you into the rough hazard.
Slice into the rough. Okay, that leaves the dreaded 6.
The 6 is a shame. Utter disaster. Big penalty to YDS, maybe -150, and it triggers an immediate severe hazard check. This usually sends the dragon straight to the water hazard. Right. In the worst case scenarios, depending on the dragon or maybe specific relics in play, that 6, the shank, can trigger the OB seal, out of bounds. Instantly removed from the game, no recovery possible.
Whoa. So that 6 is always bad, potentially catastrophic. Water is recoverable, OB is game over for that dragon. That puts immense pressure on every single roll, especially for powerful dragons.
Absolutely. And this system makes risk assessment so dynamic. If you're playing that Monk Legion, focused on DG, you're praying for Fade 3s. If you're the Warrior Legion, you might actively court the draw too, accepting the risk of hooks, 4s, and bunker trips as the cost of aggression.
And the source material actually highlights specific factions tied to this risk engine, doesn't it?
It does. 2 great examples that show the contrasting philosophies. First, the Slice Fang Legion.
Sounds risky already.
They are. They push their luck, high risk, high reward. Their cards might make it cheaper to recover from water because they expect to end up there. They might even have abilities that give them a bonus when they roll a hook or a slice, turning a typical mishit into some kind of weird advantage. They embrace the chaos.
Okay, leaning into the bad rolls. What's the counterpoint?
The Iron Resolve Legion. These guys hold the line. They're GP engines, bunker specialists. They focus on safer, measured play. Crucially, their abilities often help them recover from bad rolls, converting discipline into GP or DG restoration, even when they hit a hook or slice.
So Slice Fang gambles on chaos. Iron Resolve builds resilience to survival.
Perfectly put. Your faction choice interacts directly with how you approach and how you survive. The inherent randomness of that shot-shaped roll, it shapes your whole mentality.
Okay, we've covered a lot of ground here. Knights, dragons, relics, hazards, the whole Mythic ecosystem.
Yeah, we've really broken down those core components from the source material.
Let's just quickly recap the big takeaways for everyone listening.
The Knight is your commander, anchored to the teeing ground, managing GP, which is really composure and stamina. Permanent, but mentally vulnerable.
Second, the dragon is the striker, embodying flaws or swing stages defined by par level. They fight on the lance zone, locked in by their YDS, making distance long.
Third, relics are the strategic toolkit, 5 subclasses: gear, swing, course, technique, caddy, each strictly tied to influencing specific stats like HD, DG, GP, YDS, specialized tools for specialized jobs.
And fourth, the hazard zone, bunker, rough, water, and the shot-shaped roll, 1 to 6, create the tension, translating dice rolls into authentic golf outcomes, with that 6-foot always looming, threatening water, or even the finality of the OB seal.
It all circles back to that central idea you raised earlier, the Knight's GP, their composure. Since they just stand there watching the dragon succeed or fail, getting hammered by hazards, maybe the real test isn't hitting power.
Right, it might be the Knight's unbreakable mental fortitude, their ability to command that chaos, absorb the GP hits from disasters, and just keep going, managing the psychological toll of the game.
Which leaves us with a final thought for you, the listener, to chew on. Based on everything we've discussed, which of those 4 Knight Legions, the aggressive warrior, the tricky rogue, the steady monk, or the calculating wizard, do you think is truly best equipped to handle that immense mental burden?
Yeah, which philosophy translates best into pure, enduring composure on this mythic course? Can raw power really overcome the mental drain? Or is it all about discipline and resilience in the end?
Always comes back to the mental game, doesn't it? Fascinating stuff. Thank you for joining us for this deep dive into the lore of the Legions.
Great discussion.
We'll see you next time.